Esta conferencia comenzará a grabarse.
Buen día, Vasco. Buen día, Jaime.
Bom dia a todos.
How are you?
Sleepy. Yes.
You
The
are my
days are
hero.
very long. The days are very long.
Yeah, for me too.
Okay. But thank you very much for all the effort that you are doing.
You are doing the
team.
same, Vasco. You are doing wonderful.
No. I have to make, how do you call it? A venia in Portuguese.
Yes.
Yes.
Buen día,
Okay.
Jaime. Avenia? What
Yeah.
is this? What is
Venia.
this?
Sorry?
Venia is a salute.
Yeah.
A salutation. Salutation.
The salutation. Okay.
You don't have
Bienvenida.
that expression. You don't have that expression in Spain. Venia? No.
Bienvenida.
Bienvenida.
No, I don't know. Okay. We
And
will
how
have.
is your family with all this occupation?
They understand. They have been working with me a lot of days, yes. And in fact, my wife is maintaining the database, the Spanish database, because Nina is, as you know very, very well, is very busy now with the ECCP forum. So the new updates on the databases are made by my wife. She has the yeah. She's helping me a lot also. And my daughter, the oldest one, was also a lot of days working with us at the beginning. That there were a lot of new communication, new proposals, and so on, new resources. She was working 12 hours a day also during some days. Yeah. But now she has returned to the normal days. Buen día, Elena. Good morning, Bianca.
Good morning, Antonio.
Happy to see you
Buen
here.
día, Antonio.
Buen día, Elena.
Buen día.
Guten Morgen, Nina.
Oh, good morning, everyone.
Bianca, you look very well. Okay, perfect. So we are expecting Ula today with us. She told me that she will join us. Okay. And also Joke, for your information, Bianca is in charge of a possible sub-project related to 3D printing. The idea, well, he will explain later, but it's a very, very interesting project. Okay. So, good morning, Eric. Daniel, good morning also.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome. Buongiorno, Verónica. Daniel, bienvenido.
Morning.
We will start very soon, in 1 minute, okay? Because we try to be very, very sharp with the timing. So we will wait just 1 minute and we will start.
Good morning, Antonio. Good morning, Bianca, and all the others. Here's Ulla speaking.
Good morning, Ula. Happy to see you here. Today we have a very, very interesting session. Day also Yeah, as always. Okay. So we will start just now. Okay, I will remember the Gilles rules for those that are new to these sessions. We try to give everybody the opportunity to speak because we are joining here a very high level of expertise. So we decided to split the session in 3 blocks. The first one is the conceptual framework. Okay, we will dedicate 20 minutes to that block. Okay, with in this case with 2 experts, Bianca Montean and Joke Berlinden. Later we will jump to the block called needs, just to define needs, and the last block is about solutions. In those blocks, I will try to give the possibility to speak to everyone that are interested. That is interested, sorry, but trying to fit the intervention in 3 minutes maximum, just to allow everybody to speak. Okay. Buongiorno, Ilaria. Ilaria will take notes also, and we will try. Welcome, and we will try to at the end define if possible some actions that we could follow and support. Okay, that's the general idea. And now I will introduce very briefly Bianca Mutean from the Transylvanian IT cluster, and also member of the expert group on clusters of the European Commission, and with a very, very high expertise on what she is going to speak about. Your floor, Bianca, welcome.
Good morning, and thank you, Antonio. I'm very happy to see so many friends online in this really uncertain times. Yeah, I think I lost you for a minute. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, we are hearing you. I have just given you the possibility to present if you want.
Yeah, actually, I don't have a presentation, so I will speak freely, and then afterwards I will send you some notes regarding what I'm going to present now. Very happy to see all of you, to see Ula. For us, it's the 5th week we are working from home. And in the meantime, I can tell that we kind of got used, and we started to wonder if this is the status quo, and it will continue also after this crisis with this type of working remote. All my team is working from home for already 5 weeks, and what we've been trying during this time, as almost all of you, I suppose, because I saw a lot of actions happening generated by the European Alliance Against Coronavirus, generated by different clusters all over Europe. I know that in these times, our role and purpose and missions proved to be relevant more than ever. And this, of course, happened also in our case. So I will use part of my presentation speaking you about one European initiative in which we are involved, and in which also I would like to see as many as possible clusters involved. It's the biggest hackathon, EU versus virus, which is coordinated by the European Innovation Center, and where we can be actively involved in making this the biggest hackathon against the virus, where a lot of commissioners and also DGs are involved. So this will be the main part of my intervention. And then I will use a couple of minutes just to tell you how our cluster and our IT companies coped with the crisis and what happened in the past 5 weeks. So I'm the national curator for Romania for EU versus Virus Pan-European Hackathon, which is meant to be the biggest hackathon organized in the EU and also in the world. I know that there are a lot of initiatives going on nationally, Hack the Crisis, and also the Global Hackathon, which happened last week. But this particular action will happen between 24th and 26th of April. I know that Antonio also is aware of this project and he's involved. The main coordinator is Isidro Lasso, and of course the cabinet of Commissioner Maria Gabriel is supervising this huge project. The idea of this hackathon is to involve hackathon teams from all the member states, and there is a proposed organization mode with national curators, ambassadors, and different layer of involvement. And it is meant to be created 300 virtual teams to collaborate and to bring their solutions to the next level in a very, very condensed timing. And if you will use the website Antonio is showing us, it's euversusvirus.org, you have the possibility to get involved as a cluster on the following fronts. To spread the word and to promote the initiative in your own country. And also, if it is the case in your country, to have a national Hack the Crisis session, it would be great to bring the outcomes, the project also in this EU hackathon. Also, what we are looking for is to identify volunteers and experienced people in different topics I will briefly present you by contributing with mentors for the teams or the jury members. And also, there is a call addressed to your member companies for expertise and offering different type of support. And also it is looked for any involvement that may help this event to have a really high societal impact. Now, just to briefly present you the domains you can find in this hackathon. It's of course the health and smart city track, and also you have the business continuity, how the companies which are not allowed to work from their premises are using the online tools in order to run their activities where is possible. Another category is social and political cohesion, remote working and education, digital finance, and also other topics which are not covered by the previous presentations. Today, in 2.5 hours approximately, the subscriptions to the call for the teams and the participants in this hackathon will be open, but you still register as a partner, and we have there the civil society organization part where US cluster can subscribe, and to try to get as many of your members or different participants from your country on board. Also, if you have expertise in the previously presented fields as a mentor or ninja, the call is open, And most probably you will be put in contact with the national curator and already subscribed partners from your own country, and you will have to coordinate with those. I don't think that it's a limit of participants, so we are looking for as many persons involved as possible to bring on the table their expertise and what they were doing at national, regional, local level. In Romania, for example, we didn't have a national session of Hack the Crisis, but we have several initiatives on ventilators, on the working hardware part, but also a lot of solutions and apps which appeared in the past month and which we are planning to bring on board. All this effort is made voluntarily, and all the interested parties have the chance to be involved, and their effort will be recognized by the European Commission through a letter stating the role of each person and organization involved in this huge event. And then each country will make its decision how will take the results from their specific country and how they will support further on. And in Romania, we will have several webinars and targeted advice for the teams from our country willing to go further in identifying local European financing sources, VCs, and helping them with potential clients EU-wide. And just for any question, I'm here. I know Antonio is involved, and maybe there are also some other participants which are aware of this huge event taking place in 10 days. The follow-up will be the most important part, what will happen with the outcomes from this hackathon. And just to give you a couple of words about how we are coping with the crisis in Romania, with a focus on the IT companies. I can tell you that there is a lot of solidarity, and of course I spoke more than ever with each and every one of our members. We don't have thousands like in Western Europe, we have several hundreds. But there is a huge feeling of support from everyone, and not only by providing free IT tools to the ones which need it, but also supporting the health system, sponsorships, and trying to unite our forces in order to create meaningful interventions. I will I will ask Antonio to receive a brief presentation of what we are doing in Romania for the IT. And for any questions regarding the hackathon or how can we work together, I'm here, and I will be joining you also in the upcoming webinars. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Bianca. I think that the objectives is to create something like 10,000 teams. It could be, because we are speaking about 60,000 participants, no? So it will be 10,000 teams. There is a challenge, a big challenge, that is to also find 10,000 mentors for those teams. So here in Spain, at least, I am working promoting that people from the academia, from the universities and the high-level expertise in the enterprises engage their people, but also themselves as mentors, because we need to find a lot of mentors in this point. Okay, so we are engaged. The European Cluster Alliance is engaged as not only Antonio, but the European Cluster Alliance as partner, and we totally support the success and the interest of this event. Thank you very much. We will continue commenting, but before let's hear Joke Berlinden. Joke, are you there?
I'm there. Yes.
Okay, perfect. I will give you the presentation capacities. Okay.
Oh, better if you can share your screen with my presentation, just to make sure, if
Okay.
possible.
Have you sent
Because
it to me? Is the same that I have the last one?
No, it's I sent you an updated one.
Okay, I see it. No,
Yes.
no problem. So it's your floor.
Okay. So so is it already on screen? I cannot see it yet.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. There you go. So good morning, everyone, and happy to meet some of you again. And I just wanted to give you an update on the presentation I gave about 2 weeks ago, I think, Antonio.
Yeah.
So if you go to the next sheet, so today I'm also here with Erik de Bruin, and his the thing that he thought of is actually a big part of what I'm presenting. So if you can go to the next sheet. So this is a sheet from before. So also if we look at the hackathons and other things, there's many people working on, if you talk about hardware and especially also about PPEs and makeshifts, personal protective equipment, then 3D printing is a very convincing one. Yet there are some issues with some materials or structures and geometries and production volumes and so forth. And in particular also the quality control of both the design. If you share something on the internet and download something from the internet, also the 3D printer or the 3D printing process or whatever else you have for making that. So there's not always a lot of quality control on that. And so if you can just continue with clicking, Antonio, then you will see some examples of products that are now downloadable or accessible for people with regards to face masks, for respirators, for giving personal protection for not inhaling virus parts. But actually, all of these have their drawbacks. And in particular, also the Decathlon masker, for example, with a makeshift filter on top of it, doesn't give you more protection than a surgical mask. So it's definitely not a what we now call FFP2 grade protection. So these are just some examples of things that are shared on the internet and show promise, but without having any evidence, actually, there's no way of making sure that whatever you make or get offered from communities that are making are good or bad. You just don't know. So the next,
okay.
yes,
okay. I would suggest not to repeat the content that we discussed.
Yeah. So this is the only repeat. So I apologize for that.
Thank you. No, don't worry.
So
Can
the
I
next
go?
sheet is So this is an adaptation of the American model, how to validate 3D prints and also other kind of files based on the left side on a grassroots initiative where you have different needs, designs, and capabilities all connected together. And right now, I think there's no formal one network in Europe for that, but there are a number of them. So there's networks of networks. For example, the Fab Lab network. There is the Design Factory Global Network, especially in Europe. But there's also others, and I think so. These non-profit entities are like the gatekeepers or the entry points of these kind of different things, and then it gets propagated to what I call validation network, which is in the middle. So this validation network tests designs, and they also share lessons learned, and they can do this kind of preliminary evaluation. And so that's something that, for example, we do here in Antwerp, but I also know that in basically all the different member states, there are facilities to do that. So it's just a way to connect that and to set up that kind of framework. And at the same time, that validation network, in one way or the other, should be also the entry point for entering these European notified bodies, so that the notified bodies can give an approval for emergency use authorization. Right now, also if I look at the project that I'm involved in, we are basically sending stuff to German notified bodies because there's none in Belgium, and we just get on top of the stack. And the pipeline is about 4 weeks or 5 weeks. So that needs to be just to be decreased. And at the same time, so at the end of the day, on the bottom right, there will be then some kind of repository of, you could say, approved model, where you can find also the models in terms of a taxonomy and evidence, and not just a database of 3D files. And there comes in also UMagine. I don't think you can click on it, but the next sheet, I think, you can, yeah. So we can, so this is like the regular UMagine websites. And you can already see a lot of examples of things related to Corona and personal protection equipment. And there's all these options to upload stuff, to download stuff, and to share stuff with others, and so forth. So if you can go back to the presentation, Antonio. So the validation network is one of the things which is key to this. And the other, so if you go to the next sheet, is the adaptation, you would say, to this UMagine, where you basically have this kind of repository which is non-profit, so it has no alliance with a particular kind of 3D printer or a particular kind of equipment or whatever. And it's already quite well known in the European maker community, so the UMagine stack. And what's important is that we basically have access to that, so we can change the UMagine so that it is adaptable to this validation network. So the next sheet is, I think, my final sheet, Antonio. So here's like a data model. I'm not going to extend too much of how that basically looks like. And so it is a collection of designs, but it also has this kind of additional kind of things about status, whether it's approved or reviewed or under progress, or maybe it's there with a number of warnings. And connected to that is evidence. So I think with this, basically in days, we can offer something to the society in Europe, where we can share models, and we can also see where models are used and whether they're good or because of, for example, the face masks are working. So many people are now making face masks, but there are slight variations in face masks. And I think it would also be good to see, okay, which variations are used a lot and which aren't used at all, and so forth. So if you can just click further, Antonio, then maybe something else pops up, but I think this is the main message. So these would be like the icons used for these different things, which is basically the same as the American NIH database has. So next, I think, is just a timeline of what we think is doable. This is old stuff, sorry. Next sheet is more important. So there's a timeline of stuff when we can start, or we already started in a sense. So within 1 month, more or less, this can already be filled with most of the 3D files which are already there, and then we can just continue from that. I think that's the story that I wanted to share.
Thank you very much, Joke. I think that this is a really interesting development, and it will be useful for all the European countries. It's my evaluation, but we have here some real expert on that area. So I would like to hear them. Okay. For example, Aurora Batista,
Sure.
I know that she is very interested. But just to keep the organization of the by the conference, I would propose to jump to the needs and potential solutions. We could relate both to the topics that we have covered before. Okay, so it's time now, 3 minutes maximum for everyone to speak about. We could be flexible and comment on what Joke or Bianca has shared. Okay, your floor. Who is the first?
Okay, I can say something, Antonio, as usual.
Let's go, Jaime.
Okay, very short. I'd like to take 2 comments on 2 things that I think are very important, connected to what Bianca and Jürgen told. That is the question of trust and value, either in the internal organizations or in the external organizations. I think that it will be very important that the digital can have some tools that can give to the people that work in the firms and for the people that work outside the firms some trust and value. I will give 2 examples. First of all, this question of working from home, that is very important because it's a way to fight against the virus, must be monitored every day with some tools that get people involved on what is being doing. Otherwise, as some magazines has been doing, we can have some problems with very fatigue and things like that. The second question is concerning customers and clients. I think this is an important question. And I think that it will be very important that the digital tools can be very well understood by the clients and customers of the companies, and at the same time, they can share value for the company. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jaime. More comments? I know that Gaia, the Basque Country IT cluster, is working precisely on that list of tools. They plan to release the website today, so I hope to be able to present it to you in some next session. Possibly not me, but themselves. Okay, Thomas Iriando. Okay, needs. What do we need? I really think that we need to participate in the hackathon. I really think that we need to take advantage of that collective intelligence that we have in our countries, in our continent, and find the best possible solutions for the projects, the challenges that we are facing. More needs.
So maybe I can very briefly add a little bit of a personal story. I was also in search of information about what the hospitals would need. So I was printing.
Could you introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Erik de Bruin. I'm also the person who has built Imagine. So this platform that we've also looked at, and I've built it also as a maker myself, wanting to see this collaboration happening. And of course, just like Wikipedia, there's a tremendous amount of people who can contribute and a lot of people who can benefit from it. So this idea of a digital platform, but then for physical, actual objects that can be used. So this is the idea behind the platform. But very recently, I've been really in need of information about what hospitals would need. So I could print lots of different designs, but it was very unclear which one would be best suited and most useful. And of course, everybody in the hospitals is very busy. So they have had no adequate mechanism to provide feedback. And so I really noticed that there's this real need. So that's why I'm very happy that Jouke contacted me, that there should be something structural that enables this feedback to be given. So best practices about how to design something that can be, for example, cleaned. So if you have, for example, contaminants on your protective equipment, that can cause problems with viruses or bacteria. And so this information is not necessarily readily available to every maker, but there's a lot of energy and enthusiasm in the maker community to provide the right solutions, but they simply are not pointed in the right direction, and all this energy is not channeled very well, and I've noticed it myself. So that's just something I wanted to share.
Perfect, and congratulations for what you are doing. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you. Yeah.
Aurora, I would like to hear you. What do you think?
Well, my sound is it takes a lot of time. Thank you.
Don't worry.
Well, as you know, for 4 weeks I'm working on that, 4 or 5 weeks, and I've obtained the designs directly from China, from the equipment that the team that worked with the Chinese government. Although I did not obtain any lab document saying what to do. But as I work with 3D printing, it's my life. I've printed in several materials and several in fields and several. I'm so tired. Sorry. It's missing the word. Okay, several layer width. To try to have parts made with less holes so that the filtration is better. But labs are not yet doing anything official, at least in Portugal, so I did not obtain. But I know that in each hospital here in Portugal, people are deciding so that no one is stopped. Every kind of place where 3D printers exist in Portugal, there are people working. Even schools that were closed and are closed, teachers go to the schools, take their printers out, and they're creating groups for printing. So each hospital in each region is saying yes or no. And when they obtain better face masks or better mouth masks or better goggles, then the ones that are made in this way are for normal people, for shop tenders, or for policemen or for firemen. So the decision of using is, if you don't have better, you do use, although you know it's not the best thing. So it's never too much to produce in this way.
Do you think, Aurora, that we need this kind of platform or some kind of global
You
platform for
mentioned
Europe?
well, Imagine
How do
and
you
others,
evaluate?
because Imagine is not the only one that is that I like Imagine, by the way, but it's not the only one that is putting a lot of energy in this. All the platforms and 3D entities that make publications every day, all of them have models and links to models.
But the
And
proposal,
articles.
Aurora, but the proposal is to create one institution, association, or whatever you want to call it, that's able to analyze and validate from a peer-to-peer review system the new models and to validate, to recommend them at European level. That's the main point. Not just the web page platform, that is important because it will be the necessary tool, okay? But the new organization.
I was not speaking about that only because you know that, that my opinion is yes, we should do things centrally, not only for 3D printed things, but also for other projects like ventilators. If we are waiting for each country to approve, we'll never arrive to something on time. So yes, it should be one. The first to approve would be approved automatically in the other 27, in the other 26. I include also Switzerland. It's in the middle of Europe, so if Switzerland is not okay with the other 27, it will be a nightmare. So yes, I fully approve that someone takes care of that, and we not wait to the 27 or the 28 to approve.
The main need, in my point of view, the main challenge is to establish the link between that hypothetical new organization or group and the homologation officials in Europe or in the countries, I don't know where. Okay, that will be the main challenge.
Very, very good. I really do approve that. I do not need to approve, but it's completely in agreement with my ideas.
More comments? Needs? There are some needs, sorry, about budget also for this project, but I think that we should look for solutions also for budgets.
Antonio, good morning.
Yep.
Patrick Villarmoz.
Good morning.
Police. Yes, I had a question to Bianca. Thank you for your presentation, and the hackathon is really a very promising event. We have been part, some of us, of such event with Airbus a couple of weeks ago. And what has been very instructive is the use of a platform all along the hackathon to flow the ideas and the project. So is it something considered for this, for the next, the EU hackathon?
Yes, of course. Now the tools which will be used during the hackathon are being organized. Until now, the organizational groups taking care of the operations of the project up to now have been proposed and testing several solutions, and having in mind this huge amount of people, for certain they will use a certain platform. If you have a good experience with some of it, and you can provide me this information, I can also put it in the tools we are using in the Slack communication channels for their organizational groups to see if it's suitable also for this event. It has not been decided up to now.
Thank you. Thank you.
Comments? Question? Needs? More?
Yeah, may I? Hi, good morning, everyone. It's Anais talking. I'm just wondering, Bianca. So I work with Association of Clusters in Life Science, and there's a big event at the beginning of May about partnering in the life science sector. And I was just wondering, how can we ensure that we connect somehow? Because if there are interesting things in the hackathon happening that could then really concretely develop into concrete collaboration with SME, at least I'm talking in the life science sector, because this is what this event. So how can we try to to connect events? Because as I think Patrick just mentioned about the Airbus, hackathon that happens many times, the problem with hackathon is that they happen, it's a bigger fuss, and then afterwards it's complex to keep on with the great ideas. So
yeah, you're right, and this is why during this hackathon, and especially after, there is a huge emphasis on the follow-up actions. Follow-up actions will be run by the teams, the curator teams, and the domain leaders from each country, together with the people from the European Commission. And I can tell you what happens, for example, in our case, and what I saw in the other countries happening. The hackathons already taking place before 24th, 26th of April. Those specific countries choose to bring also their teams in this EU hackathon. Also, we'll be having one at the beginning of May, a hackathon, regional hackathon actually, because there is no national hack the virus one. And we've contacted the organizers of the EU virus, of the Hack the Virus event taking place in Romania in May. And we've invited them to involve and to give another scale actually to their initiative, and maybe to gather some experience before their own event. So what I will tell you to do is to contact the organizers. I've already put the web address on the general chat, RTD Pan-European COVID Hackathon at eceuropa.eu, and to offer and to express your willingness to get involved also in the European level, and to connect your afterwards event with what will happen during 24th, 26th of April. I can imagine you already have some resources gathered for your event, which could be also used for the European, Pan-European event.
Great, thank you. I will put also the event here. If I may, Antonio, we have in the room Sarah Lee. She's from one of the digital innovation hubs, Hero. I don't know if it would be okay for her to just say in 2 minutes what they're doing in terms of needs and solution. Would that be okay? Because she has to leave right after that.
For sure.
Yeah. So Sarah Lee, if you.
Thank you, Anaï.
You are welcome.
Hello, I'm actually not from the digital hub, but I'm from the development agency OostNL. But in our region, we have the DIH Hero Hub, and they've put out an emergency COVID call for a single beneficiary SME up to €100,000, and the deadline of this call is the 17th of April. And what they are looking for is a quick solution of a robotic application that they can use during the crisis. So it's only a 3 days deadline from now, but I think the application is quite simple. So if you have any SMEs in your network that might qualify for this call, I would really empower them to apply for this, because I think it's a nice call. I don't know if you have any robotic SMEs or
sure.
robotic applications.
Totally, for sure, especially in Denmark, in the network. Yeah, I will encourage you to publish this call in the ECCP COVID-19 response forum. I will share it in the link in the chat. Okay, and here you have the possibility to show your funding opportunities. Okay, as you can see.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, please do that, because this is the central point of information that we are sharing. This is from the European Commission, is the European Cluster Collaboration Platform, okay? And if you publish it here, probably there will be people sharing it or, publishing it in the national networks, okay? So please do that.
Very much.
And we will for sure, spread the opportunity through our networks.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a nice
day. You are really welcome. Thank you. Okay. And the same for you, Bianca. You will be also very welcome in the ICCP forum, okay? And everyone. More. I will introduce another point, okay? It's between need and solution, okay? There is some movement, or a very intensive movement now in Spain, that now that we are returning to normal work, about the thermographic cameras. Is that in English? So there are a lot of companies interested in installing them in order to control the workers returning to their place, okay? Just to detect if there is some high fever or not, okay? But there is a lot of different options, and I have received some comments from experts telling me that there are a lot of them that are fake, that are not really good or not very well calibrated, and that there could be a lot of mistakes in the installation of these cameras. I think it's not so useful as mask, but it could be really, really useful just to be able to curate the recommendation of this kind of devices, because they could be spread all through Europe as a way to control in an anonymous way, because you are not identifying the person, you are just identifying if he is or she is suffering from high fever, okay? But it could be very, very useful, and perhaps we could even create an industry around them, because mostly they are coming now from outside, okay? But I wanted just to speak about it here. More. We are jumping to solutions. What other solution would you propose?
Antonio, on the solution
Yeah.
side, maybe I can add something, because at EU level, we are now working, the Commission is taking additional steps to coordinate with the member states to identify their needs in terms of medical equipment. And for this, it's called the COVID Clearinghouse. The CCH will contribute to do this. And so this new clearinghouse is then integrating the work of all different commission services which are working on medical equipment. And for this, they are creating an online platform to collect more information on the needs of the member states, particularly of the national authorities. So this is going on, and I am in contact with the clearinghouse, and I also have asked whether a member of the clearinghouse could present at one of the morning meetings what they are doing. But they prefer now first to finish this platform they are working on, and then they would come and join us.
Is the web page that I am showing is another one? Do you see my screen?
Don't think so. No, it's not this one. It's not yet.
Not published. Okay. Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you, Ula. More solutions. There are a lot of ICT solutions. I know hundreds, but I would like to hear yours. I can't speak without stopping. Please share. No?
Maybe I can say a couple of things because in 5 minutes I have to leave for the daily stand-up with the hackathon. What we've been trying actually to do, because during this time we've observed a lot of proactiveness and a lot of ideas and platforms and applications in order to serve the health sector and also the economical one, the digitalization of our public administration, also offering some educational tools. What we've been working lately is how to have an overview. We focused on Romania, but how to have an overview on what is going on in order not to multiply our efforts and to not to use very wisely our resources, which are very, very limited. So what we are trying to do is to scan and to make an inventory on the health solutions and also different applications. For example, in Cluj, we found at a certain point 3 weeks ago having 3 platforms trying to match the needs of the hospitals with the offer and also the fundraising actions. And I mean, all the communities meant good, but it was not really efficient because the hospitals were asking everyone for help, and we were not aware which needs are served, what's the actual need, because the things are changing really, really rapidly. So what we advised and in our community happened is to centralize all these separate initiatives into one and to split the work we are doing. And some of us are responsible with the relation with hospitals, some of us are responsible with the fundraising, but it's really important not to fragment, all this work. And during this hackathon, another thing which is really, really important is that we will try to match similar initiatives from different countries and to put different teams to work together, because there is no use to have 10 proposals or 10 projects which are doing almost the same thing, but it's more important to make a more complex one. And if we succeed, that I think is really, really important, because otherwise I have tens of application and educational offers, free offers, but we were thinking that it's more wise to try to unify and to coordinate also with the other actors from the national level.
I fully and totally agree. Coordination is the key in our activities. I want to propose you to write something on that point as best practice and put it in the forum, because it's really, really important what you said. Yeah, coordination is the key. This is the purpose of this group. Okay, just to try to share knowledge, critical knowledge, and to allow us to take coordinated actions. We are trying to jump even on the level of coordination. We are working on it. Okay, we will speak more in next sessions, I think, about that proposal. Okay, more.
Okay, Antonio, I can give some note about artificial intelligence. I think this coronavirus crisis can be a very huge opportunity for artificial intelligence being used more and more in labs and in companies. And here in Portugal, we have some good experience, either in biomedics or even in materials, where artificial intelligence is being more and more used to try to study the data, to try to study the situation of the people that are ill, and even to propose some solutions. So I think that AI, which is being more and more important in our lives, can be useful for this.
Totally agree. In a lot of places, in a lot of functionalities. Yeah, it will be good to have a map of those possibilities. I know of some of them, but it will be very good to have a kind of map. It will possibly came out from the hackathon, because at the end the tracks will be a map of the different possibilities. But yeah, totally agree. Thank you. More. Five minutes. We have 5 minutes left. Solutions on ICT. I would say that coordination is clearly one need. There is a lot of different initiatives that are going around.
Something that maybe enlarges the suggestion made a while ago, but I think that parts that are being studied and done in 3D and also in mold injection should be coordinated, because once the mold injection is found and is able to produce in better quality and more quantities, the efforts to do in 3D printing maybe should be driven to the development and prototyping on that type of parts to get them better. So to connect both things, we have in this meeting Rui Soares, who came here for mold injection in first place. Maybe Rui can say something.
I agree with Aurora. I think there's room for both 3D printing and injection molding, and there should be the creation of this link between the parts of prototyping. It may be because there are certain components when we speak about global health equipment. Some components can still be manufactured using 3D printing. There might be an advantage of that, maybe for instance in terms of design, and some of them, because of the scale, especially for conformity issues, also with the medical side, to be made in injection molding. So to create this link and understanding between 3D printing and injection molding, I agree with Aurora. We should have this approach.
Perfect. Any comment, Joke?
Yeah, so it's a very good point, because I already also remember that from Estonia or Poland we had an example where they started with 3D printing and then went to injection molding for the face shield masks or the face shields. And indeed, if a solution of that kind is already developed in, for example, Estonia, then that might be more profitable for everyone than still trying to 3D print these particular kind of geometries. Of course, so the solution that I was presenting is not 3D, just locked in for 3D printers. It can be, it should be agnostic, and it should also be focused or covering other kind of digital fabrication methods. So not just plastics, but also textiles and so forth.
That's what I understood at the first session. So I think it's totally critical. That point.
Antonio.
Just to Daniel.
One solution this regarding to ICT, this coronavirus problems, one of the biggest issues with that was that we didn't know anything about it. We didn't know how it behaved. We didn't know what type of people it affected the most. Now we have several weeks of observation data, and we can start drawing some conclusions. In some of them were not to be expected or are kind of surprising. Like, for example, data from the French community that says that it impacts non-smokers more than smokers, surprisingly. So this could only be discovered through the studying of the data. I think there needs to be a strong stance from the European Commission on personal information and data, because this is an exceptionality. There needs to be a strong addressing of privacy concerns while using the information appropriately. People need to see that their rights are preserved, but that the use of the information is squeezed to the most possible, so that we can use that information to protect everybody.
That's a very, very important point, Daniel. I didn't
And
thought about that,
ICT
but
is
it's the
solving this
perfect
problem.
environment to use open data, to anonymize the data, the personal data. Okay, but it's perfect. It will be perfect to use open data to share this data to the community about the characteristic of those that were infected, developed the illness or not, and so on. Very, very good point, Daniel.
Actually, the research, DG Research, published the action plan, the Coordinated Research and Innovation Actions, which is a 10-point plan that is an ongoing working document. And in the 9th point, there is a research data sharing platform. It's a first step made by one of the DGs facing the researchers. But I think in order for there to be a widespread adoption of this practice and more people, not only the research community, but also apps developers and governments, there needs to be a clear position that the EU just sets a frame where people can be safely working and start mining those data in order to reach useful conclusions.
I think that merits one specific session. Ula, could you help us to contact whoever is working on that area? Because it's really, really important, that point.
I will see, because let's see, I will also see what my director, who was willing to speak, Slavik Tokarski, because normally, but I haven't seen it confirmed yet, there might be the publication of the Commission exit strategy on Wednesday, and that's why I was proposing Friday to speak about it. But I'm waiting for confirmation. We have worked over the weekend on it, but I don't know whether it's ready yet or not. So I will see, but it will depend a bit on where we are with the publication, whether we can speak or not, at what moment. So definitely yes, but I cannot commit how quickly it will go.
May I suggest also, because I work in several EU projects on open data, and especially in the field of health, so I can also maybe try to connect with some of our officers, because I think it's not only DG RTD, but it's also DG Connect that have also open data platform, you know, like bottom up, that they promoted the CAPS initiative, so the collective awareness platform. So those are models that exist at smaller scale, but that could be used at larger scale. So I can try to also find a few people that that work on that, if you want.
Yeah, I think that there is really an opportunity on the analysis of the data, but there should be known that this data is available. So whatever we do to make this known, it will be for sure good. And I think that there is an opportunity also to link this open data with the hackathon. Perhaps there will be some challenges in the hackathon that could use those data as the basis for the work. It was clear or not? I don't know if it...
For me, it's clear. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay, perfect, very interesting. So it's time to close. I think that there are some actions that are clear from today's session. One is we propose you to support the hackathon, to spread the knowledge about the hackathon, to involve, engage your teams, your network, to propose, to contact your members, cluster members, or your friends and the universities, and to let them know about the hackathon and to propose them to engage out of responsibility with the continent and with the humanity, if you want. Okay, but it's a 3-day event, and we need the best one, the best minds in Europe collaborating there. Okay, that's a first clear outcome. The second, I will propose to those of you that are interested in Joker's proposal to join a group working on how to develop best this idea. Okay, and there are other opportunities also about how to coordinate the ICT initiatives and how to promote a lot of things. Okay, so thank you. Tomorrow, I don't remember the list of sorry, I don't remember the list of sessions for today. I know that for this week, sorry, but on Thursday we have social economy, a special extended session because we have very good speakers at the beginning, 4 of them, and we need to give them space to speak. Okay, so we will take 90 minutes, and as Ula said, we are open to the possibility to receive the director, Ula's director, on Friday, but it's still not confirmed. Okay, let's see. Let's join tomorrow and the rest of the days. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Adios.
Adeus.
Yes.